Hello everyone, welcome as you join me. So you're all on mute as you start. Again, it's a very hot evening here and I have no fan. So if I start overheating, you'll know why. Thankfully, we're practicing yin, which is a cooling practice. And so I'm very grateful that's what we're doing this evening. So you can see my dogs are comatose with the heat as well. So we're going to have a very fire releasing practice. I think we're going to have quite a cooling practice. So make sure before we start that you have everything that you need. Have water available if you need water. And your props, as usual, are your bolster or bolster equivalent, rolled up blankets, rolled up towels, rolled up duvet. Anything that can help you create a little bit of height. Also, large pillows will do just as well. I use cushions, have some blankets available. So that's what we need today. We have props as they can sometimes enable us to access a pose with greater ease. And therefore, when we can come into a pose with ease, we are able to sustain and hold that pose for longer, which is what we're trying to achieve in this practice, is the intention to come into a pose, hold the pose, breathe into that pose, and cultivate a sense of stillness. The physical layers will mean that we will work at a much deeper level beyond the muscles and at the deeper tissue level, levels of fascia. So that will aid flexibility and kind of develop greater range of motion. So if we are ready with our props, let's start off by coming into our comfortable Sukhasana. I was intending to do full body tapping. It's too hot to stand up. So we're going to do seated tapping today. So we might have to sort of maneuver ourselves a little bit to reach the parts that we can't while we're seated. Begin to close your eyes or take a downward gaze. The mudra that I invite you to bring today is called Subman Mayu Mudra. And that's essentially bringing all of your fingers to rest on your thumb. So you create these little, as if you're picking up something really small. And this is the Subman Mayu Mudra. This is the mudra for digestion, for assimilation. We're working with the core body again today. So I thought we would have this mudra to kind of focus on this area where we digest, metabolize, assimilate, and release. Coming into your stillness, grinding down through your sit bones, lengthening through your spine, lifting your crown up towards the sky. Relaxing your shoulders down and away from your ears to create length and height there. Notice the journey of your breath. I invite the cooling breath, Sitali or Sitkari again. Sitali is through the curled tongue. You create a funnel and inhaling the air to travel along that tongue when you start feeling warm and if you want to drop back down into coolness. Sitkari is through gently parted teeth, and it's a hissing sound, allowing the air to pass through the gaps in your teeth and pass over your gums. So I'm practicing some Sitkari breath here. Inhaling through my gently parted lips, gently parted teeth, a soft hissing sound. And closing my lips and exhaling through my nose. So I invite you to join me with one of these two breaths. If you want to try the curled tongue, poke out your tongue, curl the edges of your tongue and create a funnel. And inhale, drawing the air along the tongue. And then close your mouth. Exhale through your nose. Three small breaths through teeth or along the tongue as you choose, whichever one is more accessible or cooling for you. And then releasing your Samana Vayu Mudra and bringing your hands together at your heart center in Namaskar, opening our practice by chanting Om 3 times. Inhale fully. Exhale through open mouth to discharge the breath. Inhale to prepare. Om. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Hands to your eyebrow center. Namaste and welcome to your yin body practice. So let's move into our body tapping. Right, let's take your hand, so your left or right hand, whichever one you choose, and then folding your fingers and create a very soft fist. Your other hand can maintain its Saman Vayu Mudra if you choose. So when you have your little fist, we're going to just gently tap. So let's start underneath our collarbone. And then work along the shoulder here. We're going to start off with the lung meridian, which is one of our yin meridians, the cooling, darker side, the inner edge of our arm. So let's travel down the inside of our arm. Pause for a few taps at the elbow, and then all the way down, and then pause again for a few taps at the wrist. And here we're going to take the tapping all the way to our thumb, which is where the lung meridian ends. So it starts at the lateral rib and then it ends at the thumb. Then let's turn our hand and then take our tapping towards the index finger. And we're going to tap along the outside edge of our arm for connecting to the pear, which is connected to the lung, large intestine. This is the yang of this pear. The lung is the yin, the large intestine is the yang. And again, let's pause for a few moments here at the side of the elbow. And tap all the way along your shoulder back to your collarbone. So the large intestine starts at the index and ends at the border just below the nostril. Now let's lift our arm slightly and move to the armpit. From here, we're now moving to the heart meridian line. This starts at the armpit, and we're going to tap again along the inner side. So the heart is the yin of this pair, the heart and small intestine pair. Again, pausing at the elbow, all the way down to your wrist, pausing there for a moment. And we're going to travel to the little finger here, which is where the heart meridian ends. I invite you to turn your hand and we're going to travel along the outside, the top of your little finger, all the way along the outer edge of your arm. So now we're at the yang pair, the yang meridian of this pair, the small intestine. This is connected to vitality. And traveling all the way again to your shoulder. This one ends in the ear, the small intestine meridian. So the lung connects with grief, the large intestine connects with sadness, the heart connects with joy, the small intestine with vitality so far. Now again, let's lift our armpit and now just go to the side of your chest here, side of your rib here. So in line with your nipple, this is where the liver, the pericardium meridian begins. Let's travel along the armpit. Now we're back on the yin side. So we travel down the inside of the arm, all the way along to the middle finger. The pericardium meridian connects to depression and releases depression when we work with this meridian. When we get to the middle finger, let's flip our hand and go to the ring finger. And now we're going to work along the outside edge of the arm. The pair of this pericardium is the triple heater or shanzhuao. Traveling along this yang outer side, the more dynamic, active, heating side. So we're balancing the yin and the yang, the cooling and the heating. Traveling all the way to the shoulder again. This triple heater normally ends at the eye corner, and it connects to the emotion of kindness. Now we're going to move to the other side. So release this hand, fold in the other hand. You can correct into your gentle fist and start at the collarbone. So again, we're revisiting the lung meridian line here, the yin of the pair. Traveling down along the inside of your arm, pausing at the arm elbow, and then traveling down the forearm, and again pausing at the wrist, before going all the way to the thumb. And then turning your hand and now traveling along the index, the outside of the arm, to connect with the large intestine meridian. And again, I invite you to pause at the elbow. So there are certain points where acupressure points or mama points, there are something like 300 of these points around the body. And we're really focusing on the main ones here, all the way up again to the shoulder, to the collarbone here. And remember, this connects with sadness and the release of sadness. Lifting our armpit, going back to the heart meridian. Working along the inner arm to activate and cultivate a sense of joy. Pausing at the arm, the elbow, the crease of the elbow, inside of the arm, and down to the little finger. Flipping your hand and traveling along the little finger outside edge now to marry up with the small intestine, the yang of this pair. This is your vitality. It releases that sense of vitality. So you can see, working with the heart and small intestine can balance out when we're experiencing the more negative emotions. So back to your inner armpit and then your shoulders. Remember, this one ends normally in the ear. And one more time now, let's lift our armpits so we're in line with the nipple here at the ribs, and working along the armpit. We're on the yin side again, the pericardium, so working along the inside of the arm this time. And traveling all the way to the middle finger. So much more restful doing this body tapping while we're seated. Flipping your hand and now going to the ring finger for the triple heater. And traveling along the outside of the yang of this pair. All the way to the outside of the elbow, to your shoulder, You can just bring it back down here if you wish. So this one normally ends at the corner of the eye. So now we've done the upper body meridians. So let's just tap now along the middle here. So let's start at the collarbone and the sternum here. So we have the stomach and spleen at the kind of traveling down the front of our abdomen. And zigzagging also, we have the liver and the gallbladder. So coming down to your hip bones here. And then if you want to lift your seat a little bit, you can just tap the sit bones, the lower back for the kidney. We will come down to our feet in a moment. So this is always a bit tricky, reaching out back. And now let's work with our lower body meridians. So the stomach and spleen and the bladder and the kidney are whole body meridians. So they travel the full length of the body, but we'll focus on our lower body. So if you place your feet flat on the earth here, this will give you the space to tap here. We'll start off with the liver, and we're going to work our way on the inside of the leg. And instead of starting at the top, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So upper body, we're working down and then up. Lower body, we work up and then down as we tap. So let's start with the yin here, the big toe. So you can use both hands here. So starting tapping at your big toe, along the foot, and then coming to the ankle and just above the ankle, and pause here. So we have quite a few acupressure points here for the liver, traveling along the inside of your leg. And again, there's a spot here just where the calf muscle is that might feel quite tender. Coming up to the inside of the knee, the inside of the thighs. I never thought I'd be doing this on video. Coming to the inner groin area. So the liver is connected to anger. And then you can carry on up the side of your chest if you wish. It's a bit tricky though, with both hands you might have to cross them. We're really focusing on the lower body anger. Now we're going to travel back down the leg for the gallbladder. So this time we're going to work down the outside of the leg. So starting at your hips here, and then traveling down the outside of your leg. The gallbladder, which is the yang of this pair, connects to courage. Again, I'm going to ask you to sort of pause at the outside of your knees. And then as you travel down to the outside of your ankle, pause there for a while. I'm going to travel all the way down along the top of the foot to the fourth toe. And you might want to tap there with your fingers because it's a bit tricky to tap your toes with your knuckles. We're going to travel back up now for the spleen. So back to the big toe. And we're going to travel along the inside of the leg again. So the liver and the spleen kind of run parallel to each other. Let's travel along. Spleen is connected to empathy. So you can see how where the liver works with the emotion of anger, the spleen works with the emotion of empathy. And when we have empathy, it can dissipate anger. So again, back to the inside of the leg, and you can go up the side chest if you wish. We have worked along here. And now we're going to travel down. So this time we're going to travel down the front of the legs. This is where the stomach meridian runs. So you can start at the hip here, the fold, and then tap all the way your thighs, your knees, shins, tapping down. And we're going to go all the way to the second toe here. And again, you can use your fingers at the second toe if you so wish. The stomach connects with anxiety and releasing anxiety. We're coming back up again along the inside. But before we do that, let's turn our feet. I'll show you how we turn. Roll your feet out onto the outer edges. And we're just going to tap the soles of our feet. So the center of our foot. This is where the kidney meridian starts. Now we're working with the kidney, which connects to contemplation. And then travel along the inside of your leg again. all the way to the top here. And you can tap the back if you wish here as well, where the function of the organ that's related to this meridian sits. And now finally, the back of the legs. So take your hands to the underside here. We're working with the bladder. And let's travel down the legs. You might need to extend your leg here to get to the back of the knee. So you can see how some of the poses that we do, some of the shapes that we create in yin, like this looks very reminiscent of dragonfly. So you can see how when we come into these poses, we stimulate these meridians. The bladder is connected to fear. So let's go down the back here and then all the way around the outer edge of the foot to the little toe. And we're done here. So before you finish, what you might want to do is give yourself a little rub along the legs, up the front, down the back. I really love that body tapping. I feel so good after body tapping. Let's come into our first pose, Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. If you have your large pillow or your bolster handy, I invite you to reach for them now. And what we're going to do today is we're going to place the bolster or your large pillows underneath your knees. So take your bolster or your large pillow and have it long waist so that it gives you lots of room to open up your knees. The soles of your feet come together. So now you're kind of a bit familiar with meridian points start and end. And so you recognize that when we give ourselves a little massage on the feet, we're stimulating and applying acupressure to those meridian points that start or end in the feet. Lengthen through your crown here. As you exhale, fold forward. And I invite you to interlace your fingers between your toes. Again, we're just going to apply a little bit of gentle pressure there. And then soften through your neck, your shoulders, your crown. And we'll be here in this forward fold butterfly for 2 minutes. We'll start off with shorter held poses and then build up. And I'm holding this pose for a little less time today because it's a really warm day. And so forward folds can activate heat. And although this is a cooling pose, we're still compressing on our Manipur chakra as well. So just overlaying some of these philosophies and bearing in mind that the intention today with yin is to create coolness. So when we're in forward folds, we are stimulating the kidney and the bladder meridian. And the kidney, again, is contemplation. So this is an opportunity here to contemplate, reflect. What is your intention for your yin practice? Consider, reflect, meditate. The beauty of yin is that it gives us space and time to begin this journey towards meditation. The kidney is an organ function that connects with cleansing, releasing, flushing out. Because the water element sits here as well, it can help bring a sense of tranquility and flow. So 5 more breaths here. As you contemplate on your practice, as you connect with this sense of stillness of body and mind. Inhaling, very gently begin to unfurl your spine, release your fingers from your toes, and rise. Take a moment here. And I would invite you to slide away your bolster or your large pillow from here. Going to move into square pose. And so to make this pose accessible, there are 2 options. Option 1 is crossing at the ankle, so that you create this triangle when you look down. And you are invited to roll up a blanket and place it where your legs cross. So that gives you a little bit of support. You're also invited, if you have available, to place your blanket or cushions or bricks underneath your knees so that your knees feel supported. So this is an accessible option. If you want to come into square and your hips give you the space to do that, and not all hips will, you'll notice in a moment what happens when I do it. So you cross at the ankle, and you'll notice what happens with me, that my knee really lifts up. So I don't have much space. So I'm going to stay crossed at the ankle. But if you wish to bring up your right foot onto your lower leg or onto your knee, and it feels comfortable, you can do that. So you can see for me, there's lots of space here. I have very tight hips. What I can do, if I want to stay in this variation, is roll up a blanket and place it underneath that knee. And then place your hands on your knees and gently apply a little bit of pressure. So here we are in square pose or cross-legged pose variation. The right leg is on top. We're going to move from here into a lateral stretch. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So your right foot is on top. You can have a bolster on the left side. And I invite you to place your forearm or your elbow and then support your head to come into a lateral stretch over to the left, so that you feel an extension here in the right hip. If you have a lot of movement available, you can always bring your elbow directly to the earth. I'm going to keep my right hand on my right knee to create some space. My left elbow is on the earth or on a bolster or a pillow or a block. Or I'm staying upright. 3 options. We're not here for long. So here, thinking about what we're stimulating here. So along the outer edge of our leg runs the gallbladder meridian. So it starts at the side of the abdomen, which is why we're using this for our core body practice, and then runs along the outer edge of the hip. So whatever we're doing, a hip opening practice, this often helps to release strong feelings such as anger, or it cultivates a sense of fearlessness or courage. One more breath here. Then releasing your hands to the earth or your bolster or cushion. Inhale to rise up slowly. Now this leg that's on top, we're going to release it and stretch it out long to the side here. And tuck in that left foot even closer to us. Half dragonfly. And here we're going to come over now to do a lateral stretch over to the right. So if this leg on your right leg doesn't feel comfortable, you can always fold up a blanket and place it underneath your knee. Option 1. If you wanted to create an even deeper bend, so if your knee has a very deep bend in it, you might even choose to place your bolster or large cushion underneath it. So we're trying to discover ways of accessing these poses. And because this is a cooling practice, we don't want to overexert and reach beyond our edge. When we go beyond our edge, we begin to release stress that creates heat in our body. So whichever variation you have for your right leg, lengthen first. And then as you exhale, you can bring your right elbow to your right leg. And then again, support your chin with your hands, so creating a little fist, a little platform. You can even bring your elbow to the earth. So play around with how this feels. And again, I'll keep my hand on my left knee to help me stabilize here. Breathing into parts of your body where you can feel extension. And breathing out in those same parts. And then perhaps on the next round, you focus on where you feel compression. Not here for long. So as we work with this part of our body here, and we release these strong emotions, it enables us to think about how we take action, whether we move from a place of anger when we act or react, or whether we move from a place of courage and vision. One more breath here. Release your hand, begin to unfurl, to come up slowly. And let's go the other way. So this time we're going to cross the left foot on top of the right, left ankle on top of the right ankle. So crossing at the ankle or the shin, or placing that left foot on your right knee rather. And again, you can see that there's not much space for my hips. So I'm going to again roll up a blanket so that I can support my knee on my blanket here. And using your left hand on that left knee to apply a little bit of gentle pressure. And we're going to go over to the right here, so perhaps having your bolster or your large pillow or low footstool even. So lengthen first. And then let's bring that right elbow onto our bolster, our cushion. We always can stay upright, or maybe we bring it down to the earth. That feels really intense in my hips, so I'm going to rise up a little. So remember about these edges, we come to an appropriate edge rather than trying to move beyond the edge. If we move beyond the edge, we are at risk of causing pain and discomfort. And when we're not at ease, our mind cannot find stillness. Our mind becomes distracted by the pain, the discomfort. Challenge is good. Pain is not. Let's have 5 more breaths here. And think about, as we start with these early poses, what we're letting go of. So our contemplation at the start was to think about what we want to invite. But before we can invite in, we need to clear space and release. Three more breaths here. And then let's release our hand and rise up slowly with care. Let's extend that left leg long out to the side, tucking in that right heel. And again, you can place wherever you wish underneath that left knee, the back of the knee, so it feels supported. And we're going to go over to the left this time. So again, lengthen and then exhale and bring your left elbow onto your left leg, onto a bolster or onto the earth, depending on how much space you have. We're all in different places with our bodies. I'm using a bolster here. And again, I'm resting my head. So in this Yin Body series, we've been focusing on working from the upper body through the middle body down towards the lower body. And most of the meridians and that we associate with this practice are either in the upper or lower body, and some of the whole body. And what I'm working on today with you really is focusing on the organs in our middle body, thinking about how we can apply some through the twists, the side bends, the forward bends, a little bit of internal pressure to activate that sense of digestion, assimilation, integration. One more breath here in this half dragonfly variation, and then inhaling to rise up slowly. And then let's help that leg in. Bring both feet to the earth. And windshield wiper one way, then the other way. We're going to move directly into a deer pose variation from here. So I'm going to ask you to place a bolster or a pillow behind your back, because we're going to place our hands behind our back. And if you might want a little bit of height there. Let's swing our legs over to the right. So we create this zigzag here and create a very generous zigzag. You can have that left heel in towards your groin area, but that will create much more intensity, or you can have it a little bit further out. So I'm going to work with space today for my practice because I'm warm. But if you are not as warm, and I'm trying to cool myself, so I want to create space in which the energy, the chi can flow. So when you've got your legs here, reach behind your back and have some space behind your back. And then begin to lean back. And as you lean back, really open up your space around the abdomen and the heart. And this is why you might need to have a bolster or pillow behind you, because if you wish, you can come onto your forearms. So if I turn sideways, you'll be able to see how I'm doing this. I'm not going to go all the way back, and if yogis choose to do that, and they have a consistent, regular, long practice in terms of long over a period of time, you can always come onto your backs like so. But that's too intense for my kidneys, and it doesn't feel sustainable for me today. So I want to stay up a little bit higher. You have your hands in your Sman Vayu Mudra for digestion, for assimilation, for integration. Not here for long. And here again, you'll feel that we're working with some of our internal organs, the stomach, the liver, the kidneys in particular. And because we have a twist here with our legs, we're stimulating the meridians that travel along the outside and the inside of the legs, the gallbladder, the spleen. One more breath here. I'm not staying here long because we're applying a little bit of weight to our arms and hands. Inhale, slowly rise. And then exhale, let's just fold forward for a moment. Your eyebrow center can come all the way down to the earth, or again, you can be hovering some way from the earth. But your arms, your forearms are acting as a scaffold for you. And then inhale to rise up. And we're going to swing our legs around. So let's come onto our feet and then take our legs to the other side. So now we're taking our left heel towards the back. Our right shin is in front of us. Again, create a generous zigzag here. Lengthen. And then begin to walk your hands back and lean back here. We're not here for long. Again, you can always bring your forearms to the earth. Onto your bolster. So again, be mindful of how this feels in your lower back. Three more breaths here. Connecting with this sense of stillness. Inhaling, rise gradually, supporting yourself with your hands, and travel forward to come into your forward fold. As your counter pose. Now, as you're here in a forward fold, we're going to move directly onto our abdomens. So you can do this by removing your bolster and then swinging your legs behind so that you come onto your abdomen. If you need to pad your mat with a folded blanket. With my dog, so he's not in my way. Create a little bit of space. Too many bolsters here. So you're on your forearms in Sphinx here. Pad the mat if you need with a blanket. If this feels too intense for your lower back, remember to take your elbows further apart, and then you can always turn your elbows out to the side and come into crocodile variation with your eyebrow center resting on the backs of your hands. Yogi's choice here. We're not here for very long. We're using this as a transition pose to move from one to the other. And now I invite everyone to come into crocodile pose. So your elbows come out to the side, eyebrow center resting on your hands. We're going to engage and lift our right leg off the earth here, just for a moment. Imagine that the energy is extending through the length of your right leg here. You can feel this in your lower back, in your kidneys. So only lift your leg as far as is comfortable. And then exhale to lower the right leg. Soften for a moment. And then inhale to lift your left leg. Again, only going as far as is comfortable for you. So there may be only a fraction of a space between your leg and the earth, or there may be much more. The experience that you want to have in your lower back depends on whether it is pain, which is not what you want, or whether there's a sense of a sensation, a strong sensation, but one which is sustainable. Pain is always to be avoided in yin. Exhale and release that left leg to the earth. Take a moment here. And then from here, we are going to transition onto our knees. We're going to come into dragon pose. So come through Sphinx onto your knees, moving slowly because you've just done a back bend there with your knees. Coming onto your knees. Pad your knee if you need. So we're going to pad the left knee. You're going to step forward with the right foot. So if you want to pad your left knee, I invite you to place your blanket underneath your left knee. And then step with your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Coming into dragon here. Again, you have the option of having your hands directly on the earth or having your hands on your bolster or large pillow. Take your right hand to the inside of your right knee and begin to roll onto the outer. I'm going to show you so you can see it without the bolster. So roll onto the outer edge of your right foot. So you roll onto the outer edge of your right foot, and that right hand is on the inside of that knee, applying a little bit of gentle pressure. Now, if that feels too uncomfortable, you can roll back onto the sole of your foot and just place your right hand on your knee. Yogi's choice. And make sure that you can all see. This is twisted dragon. So pushing that right knee out or placing that hand on that right knee, begin to turn your gaze up towards the sky over your right shoulder. Your left hand is on the earth or on a bolster. You can also bring your forearm onto the earth or onto a bolster. Yogi's choice. I want to make sure that you are comfortable here. If your neck is not comfortable looking up at the sky, you can turn your gaze down towards the earth. Bless you. 3 more full breaths here in dragon, twisted dragon. Releasing your hand, turn your gaze down towards the earth. And then step back with your right leg behind you. Extend it long for a moment, tucking the toes and push out through that heel just to release the energy that's trapped behind the knee as you had it bent. Let's step forward with the left foot now. And make sure your right knee has padding if you need. Roll onto the outer heel of your left foot. This left hand can be resting on the knee, or you can be applying a little bit of gentle pressure. Your right hand can be on the bolster or the earth. Your forearm can be on the earth or the bolster. And turn your gaze to look over your left shoulder towards the sky. If this does not feel comfortable, gaze down towards the earth. So here in Dragon, we're working on the stomach and spleen meridians that run down the legs, the liver and gallbladder, and the kidney and the bladder, which all are located in the middle of our body. These organs are located here, and the organ functions travel down the length of our legs, the length of our body. Three more breaths here. Exhaling, gaze down towards the earth. Release your left hand, roll back onto the sole of your foot, and then step back along with your left leg. Tuck the toes and just stretch out for a moment there. Then bring your knee back in. We're going to move directly back to the earth now. So have your bolster available or large pillow, because we're coming into our supine twist. And for that, you may well need your bolster, but see how you get on. If you wish to layer your mat again with your blanket, you can choose to do that. A little bit of extra comfort. So let's come on to our backs. Let's work with the left side first. So have your bolster over onto the left side of your body in case you need to rest your knees or legs on it. Feet planted on the earth, knees bent. Arms can be resting on your lower body and at your solar plexus, so at your navel and solar plexus. Lift your left ankle and place it on your right knee to create figure of four. So if you're happy here, you can stay here. Actually, let's make sure we're going to need our bolster on the other side. Make sure we've got the bolster on the right side. Begin to release your right knee down towards the earth. And then bring the sole of your foot onto the bolster or onto the earth. So that what you end up doing is crossing your right leg over your left leg over your right leg. I explained this very well today, am I? This is what happens when the heat melts your brain. So we have our right foot on the earth to start with. Our left ankle is crossed onto our right knee. We drop the right knee over to the right, and as we do that, the sole of the left foot either connects with our bolster or directly onto the earth. So our left knee is still pointing up, and we've created this sort of twist. So this is called twisted roots variation. Gazing up towards the sky, the sole of your left foot either resting on a pillow or your bolster or the earth. Your right leg is crossed underneath that left leg so that you have this gentle twist across the lower abdomen. Three full breaths here. I invite you to take Sthitali or Siddhgadi Pranayam, curled tongue for Sthitali, out through your nose, or through gently parted teeth for Siddhgadi. And breath out through your nose. From here, as we transition back to center, find support with your hands and forearms on the earth. Engage your core and begin to lift your right knee off the earth, and this will bring your left foot back up. And then place the sole of your right foot on the earth, back into figure of 4 for a moment. And then let's release that left leg and bring the left foot onto the earth with your knee bent. Cross your right ankle onto your left thigh, just below the knee, creating figure of 4. And now we're going to drop the left knee down towards the earth on the left side. This will mean we roll onto the outer edge of our left foot and our right foot comes down towards the earth, or we can have a bolster there so that the right foot rests on a bolster. Yogi's choice. And your hands are resting on your lower abdomen, your solar plexus. The sole of your right foot is supported by the earth or by a bolster or pillow. The left leg is folded underneath the right, and you're on the outer edge of your left foot, the little toe side, gazing up towards the sky. So remember the emotions that we've been working with today around these 3 pairs of meridians. Inhaling, bring your legs back to center. And then release your right foot to the earth. We're going to come into Shavasana now. So I invite you to bring the bolster or pillow underneath your knees. Backs of your knees here. So that you are in a supportive Shavasana today. I have a very hot doggy. He's doing his variation of Siddhgari and Siddhali breath. Rest in Shavasana now with your eyes closed. Allow your body to soften here. And let's revisit these emotions that we've been working with today with our middle body, with the core body here, where the organs are located. And the functions of these organs connect with our emotions. So for the liver and gallbladder, we're working with anger and courage. With the spleen and the stomach, we're working with empathy and anxiety. And with the kidney and bladder, we've been working with contemplation and fear. So think about how these emotions have resonated with you during your practice. Yin is a practice of contemplation, of connecting with these deeply held emotions as well as the deep places of our body. With each out breath, begin to release these emotions. So let's release anger. Inhale, courage. With the out breath, release anxiety. With the in breath, invite empathy. With the out breath, release fear. With the in breath, invite contemplation. Releasing anger, anxiety, fear. Inviting courage, empathy, and contemplation. With your next breath, take a full breath in. Begin to invite movement into your fingers and toes, your arms and legs. Inhaling to stretch. Exhaling to curl. And roll over onto the side of your body, the left side, ideally. And with helping hands rising into your sukhasana, your comfortable, easy seat. When you arrive there, keeping your eyes closed or inward gaze, bring your hands into your Samanvaya Mudra, this mudra for assimilation, integration, digestion of both emotions and thoughts, as well as on a physical level, by bringing all of your fingers to touch your thumb. Let's take 3 cooling breaths here. Sitkari or Sitali. Sitali is the breath through the curled tongue. Sitkari through the gently parted teeth. Inhaling in through your mouth and out through your nose. A hissing sound for Sitkari. A sound of suction for Sitali. Releasing your mudra and bringing your hands together in namaskar at your heart. And as we close our practice with Om Shanti, for each Shanti, offer Shanti, peace, to your body, your breath, your mind. Inhale fully. Exhale completely to discharge all of those emotions that no longer serve you. Inhale to prepare. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Dhanyavad. And thank you. I wish you well. Have a restful day.